three different things that we run is what we call a quick screen, okay, which is a wide receiver screen. We run a slow screen, which is also a wide receiver screen, okay, and then we run a running back screen, all right? And those are the three things that we do, okay? What we did, and this is always works this way, and it's kind of a weird deal, is we always try to determine who can run the screens the best. All right, who's our best screen guy? And I think once you do that, then you maximize the number of reps you get, okay? Because running the screens is all about the quick screen, it's about fast and explosive. So it's going to happen fast, and you want to throw the ball to the most explosive guy you got, the guy that's going to get up the field the quickest, the guy that's going to stress the defense the most. All right, if you're running a slow screen, you want a guy that's patient, okay, and can read. In my experience, that's never been the fast, explosive guy. And then running back screen, you have to find the same thing. With your running back screen, he's got to be patient and a guy that can read, okay? So that may not be your starting tailback. We've had years at Tech where, okay, we just call it middle screen, okay? What it is, it's a jailbreak screen, all right? And this has evolved through the years. Okay, when I was at Kentucky, when I went to Kentucky in '97, we went to Montana. They were running screens really well and stole their, what we used to call the Grizz screen. Okay, and what it was it was a deal where we'd work him 3 steps up the field, okay, out of the gun. We'd be 2 by 2, work him 3 steps up the field. He would come back underneath 3 yards deep. Okay, this guy would take half of his cushion, push that vertical to set him up, and then we'd run out here, cut him, okay, leave the tackle on. The guard would come here and block number 2. We'd get the center up on number 3, and the way we did that was getting this play fake here, okay, to hold him a little bit. All right, so we'd get a play fake, hopefully hold the mic, let the center come around and block him, leave the tackle on backside, and get the backside guard up here. And this was always the block we had a hard time with, okay? And that was what we used to call the Grizz screen. All right, we started running that at Kentucky. We murdered people with it. You know, we were the first team in the SEC to run it, okay? Well, by the time I left Kentucky in '99, I think everybody in the SEC was running it, and we went from averaging probably 15 yards every time we ran it to probably averaging 5 yards every time we ran it, okay? And the reason why is because it was something people hadn't seen, and people started getting smarter with the way they played these guys, and we had a difficult time running. The most dangerous inside 5, okay? And what we want to do is we tell them we're going to punch till they stop their feet, okay? What we're going to do out here as receiver is we're going to go a quick 3 vertical steps, or you can just go 1. Basically what's going to happen is he's going to get a little bit more up the field into the boundary, a little less up the field to the field. Does that make sense? Just because he's got some time here if he's into the boundary. So he's going to be a little slower, okay? And then all we're trying to do now is get these linemen out in front. He's going to go block number 1, most dangerous, all right? The tackle is going to stay on. The guard's going to block 2. Center's going to block 3. Backside guard's going to block 4. Backside tackle is going to block 5, all right? Now, are those guys counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I mean, that sounds great on this little clinic tape, all right? But these guys don't know. So what we do is we tell the guard, you got to go flat, okay? If you're flat, you can adjust, all right? We like to run this into the boundary, and the reason why is because this guy's got to play in less space into the boundary, okay? I mean, your guard on a linebacker, again, sounds great on a clinic talk, but in reality, it's not something that you want to do a lot, okay? A linebacker's a lot better athlete than that guard, okay? And the way you can alleviate that is by teaching the guard to throw and roll, okay? If the guard throws and rolls, then the worst case scenario is that the linebacker's going to have to stop, get his hands on him, and while he's laughing, he's going to at least adjust his course slightly, okay? Because if a guard runs out there, sometimes he'll knock him out, sometimes he'll knock him down, but very seldom is he going to be able to get on him. All right, so we're giving him a little bit better chance by running it into the boundary. All right, we're going to try to teach our guys to throw and roll. Again, the reason why is if you can just get the linebacker to pause long enough, sometimes it'll be just all you need. Okay, and again, so he's looking for number 2. He's going to block 1. He's looking for 2. Those guys can count to 2. Now counting to 3 is a little bit dicey. All right, but so we're going to try to get him on this path here too. The way we teach this is in our screen drill this spring we'll set up cones. okay? And we'll run this the first couple of days where all they're doing is running to a cone to teach them the path, all right? Then the second week, we'll actually put people out there, okay? When we put people out there, now they've already learned how to run to a particular path, so now they run to their path. If somebody shows up, they block him. If he doesn't, then they're going to continue upfield and look for the next guy to block. All right, we found that's the simplest way to teach it. Okay, what we want to try to do on the backside is exactly here. We want to sell pass, and then we want to try to get inside and cut him off. Okay, and then we tell our receiver, you're going to be patient. Okay, you're going to be patient. All right, all you're trying to do is look for one block. Okay, and then after you look for one block and you get 5 yards, okay, we tell him you got to get 5 yards. And so he's looking for one block to try to get 5 yards and then get vertical. Sometimes it comes all the way back out the back end. Sometimes it goes right out the front end like that did. Okay, action with our quarterback. We're going to swing our back, and I think this is a great way to do it because, again, the backside linebacker is the guy that makes plays on screen after screen after screen after screen after screen. Okay, now New Mexico's playing man here, but if they're not, a lot of times that's going to, we run this a lot with our back. That's going to really bring that linebacker out of there, and that's something we found has really helped us out. Again, it stretches the backside backer enough to where a lot of times he's not making the play on the screen. Okay, everybody get the block in. Again, our quarterback is going to take the snap. All right, he's going to go one long, two short. All right, so he's going to catch it. He's going to go one long, two short. We want him looking at the back. Okay, and I think the screens, again, it takes a long time to teach the angles of departure to the O-lineman. And I think the best way to do it is to walk through it, to talk to them all the time about angles, because if they take a good angle, then they give themselves a chance. If they take a bad angle, they never have a chance from the time the ball is snapped. Okay? Again, this is not anything that anybody hadn't done, I'm sure, but something that's been one of our better screens. And again, this guy was our guy that could do it.
The nose guard came off, almost caused you some problems. You would have liked the center to pick up number 3.
Yeah, let me see what happens here. Let me go back and.
You like to run that on the short side of the field?
Yeah, I like to run it in the boundary. Yeah, again, just because it gives the linemen aren't playing in so much space. Let me see what happens here. Yeah, we actually get the center on the right guy. Okay, that's kind of the way we want it to be right there.
Just assume he would rush.
Yeah, we definitely want this nose guard. And our quarterback doesn't sell it long enough. Really, this is our quarterback's at fault here because your quarterback is critical to selling the play. You know, because everybody's coached so hard on the screen where now if he sees his eyes start to look backside, they know it's screen, and those guys will stop and retrace.
But you consider this your slow screen?
Yeah, this is a slow screen for us.
Coach, that DN drops, what do you
The
teach?
tackle is going to go attack him. Yeah, if his guy drops out, the tackle will go attack him.
Coach, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The linemen downfield, do you run into any problems with them being downfield before the pass? I mean,
Yeah, as long as we're behind the line of scrimmage, we're good.
okay.
Yeah. The problem is
They're coming upfield pretty hard.
the problem. What we run into sometimes is the receiver on his path. Okay, and that's kind of a good question from the standpoint of what you got to do. And this is something again it takes a lot of time here to teach. Okay, here it is out of no backs. Okay, same screen, same guy running it. You can see Cal's dropping everybody out. So you had a blitz from New Mexico. Here's dropping everybody out. And I like running the screens against people that drop people out as much as I do as people that rush hard. Okay? And especially people that are going to drop their linebackers deep. Okay? I think, and I think that when you get an odd front, people are dropping their backers out of their deep, it really gives you a great opportunity to throw over the top of the first level and make plays there on the second level. All right, the big thing for us, we tell our guy all the time, you want to get 5 yards. You catch the ball, okay, another point of emphasis, and it's a little bit bad here, is you got to keep your feet alive. Okay, we tell our receivers, you have to run your feet through the catch. You got to keep your feet alive. If you stop your feet, somebody's going to catch you from behind. There's going to be a retracer that catches you. If you don't stop your feet, nobody retracing ought to ever be able to catch you. Nothing more frustrating in the whole world than guys rushing the passer, think they got some progress, and the guy dumps a screen over the top of them. Okay? When I was at Texas Tech, we used to play Texas every year, and I mean they had a great defensive front every year. We couldn't block them. All right? So what we'd do is early in the game, we would throw. If we ran our first 10 plays of the game, we were going to make those guys run, either screen them or make them run horizontally, probably 8 of the first 10 plays. Okay, and then we might cut him on quick game the other 2. All right, and what that was doing was giving us a chance. It was taking the edge off of those guys. They're all lathered up. They're saying, hey, we're playing Texas Tech. They're going to throw it 60 times. I'm going to get some sacks. So they're coming up the field. I mean, they're flying up the field, and all of a sudden they're getting screened. All of a sudden they're having to run because we're running quick or reverse, change directions, run around. And 10 plays in, a lot of times those guys at Texas would lose their edge a little bit, okay, because we wore them down a little bit. We frustrated them. And all of a sudden they quit rushing. Then when they quit rushing, now you have a chance to throw the ball down the field a little bit. I firmly believe if you're going to throw the ball, you got to throw screens whether they work or not. Okay? And it's hard to call plays that you don't feel good about them working or not working, but sometimes you just got to do it. Okay, you can see here this one goes completely all the way out the back end. Okay? It's the same screen to the wide side. Yep. And what we'll do typically, and the reason why we probably did this, and again, I'd rather throw it into the boundary. I felt like we needed to run a screen for whatever reason, and probably we practiced it one way only that week. And that's what we do a lot of times, is we're going to practice it one way that week the whole time, again, so we get our guys good at getting out that way. So what happened is, you know, I wanted to call the screen in this situation, and except we were on the right hash, and I just called it.
Well, just like a shallow cross with. So you tell the slot kid to not block one. It's the most dangerous.
Most dangerous, yep. His job is block most dangerous.
And then that play side guard, he sees him blocking number 2, he just turns up.
What he'll do is, what we'd like for him to do, really honestly, is run out here to number 1. Okay?
You like to play side guard to get number 1?
Yeah, because what we're telling him is he's not worried about number 1 or 2 as much as he's worried about path.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. So his path is where? His path is flat here. Right. So if he takes his guy, he ought to continue on that path, and he ought to know somebody's going to show. Okay? And that's what we want in a perfect world. Now, what he's going to do sometimes, again, this guy's deep enough, and he saw him, he's going to go block him most of the time. Okay? But in a perfect world, he would stay on his path, and we'd get the backside guy up to him. Because what we end up with here is 2 guys blocking the same guy. All right? But again, sometimes that's not that bad. You know what I mean? If they're making a decision based on, okay, this guy's out of the play, this guy's in the play, you know, sometimes it's not bad to have 2 people on the guy in the play and nobody on the guy outside the play. And I think that's the thing, again, you can't overcoach it. You know what I'm saying? You want him to run his path, but then you got to let him make a decision sometimes too. Okay, you see how he's getting deep enough here? Okay, see how he only goes 1 step here instead of 3 steps? He knows it's got to be a little faster because he's to the field. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, we're close there. Really close to having a big play.
Coach, what's your rule with that center there? How long are you asking him or telling him to be engaged?
We're going to tell him to stop the feet of the D lineman. And that's the key with all the guys up front is, and again, same thing, we used to have a real elaborate way of doing things and releasing and all this. What we do now is tell him set, punch him hard enough to stop his feet. Okay? And if we feel like we can stop his feet by punching him hard enough, now he's got to restart his feet and get to the quarterback, and he's not going to be able to get there. Okay? We put that, if there's an outside blitz here, somebody coming off the edge like there is here, we put him on the quarterback. Okay? We tell the quarterback you've got to either work away from him, and sometimes he'll catch it. Guy's coming hard and he's tight. Sometimes he'll catch it here. Let's say he's throwing the screen to the left. Okay, the pressure's coming from the right. I mean, he'll start rolling that way and throw it back here. You know, anything he can do to avoid that offside blitz.
And you save a play after that, if no one takes it back out of the backfield, like that play right there had to come back to that?
Yeah, what we'll do sometimes then is just throw, call pass, something where we're just running a swing to the back. You know what I mean? And that's the, you know, we've talked about double screening stuff and all that kind of thing, but again, for us, it just becomes, and there are times we wish we had double screen. But in the same thing, it just becomes so difficult to get good at this, okay, that you know, you want to make sure you're good at something. And so I think it's more important to get good at something than it is to have options on the screen. Okay, this one's going to be into the boundary. Okay, and again, see, the receiver does a nice job of reading the blocks and letting the things set up and develop.
Would you not run that out of your H-back formation with a motion or anything?
We could. We could. The only reason we don't, again, is because we really want to ensure pass rush. And if we're in a heavy set, chances are we're not going to get as heavy a pass rush. You know, we want those guys thinking, hey, they're in spread, they're going to throw it. You know, I'm getting up the field. And because that's the thing that kills the screen more than anything else, the guy's not rushing. So for us, we try to show our pass set and throw the screen out of that.
You run your screen with the quarterback under center as well?
You know, we don't. Again, for that very same reason. When we're in the gun, we're throwing the ball most of the time. So we want those guys up the field. All right, here's a screen out of 3x1. Now, this was a nice little change for us this year. Okay, out of 3x1 now, all right, all we're going to do is put the back on number 1 most dangerous. Okay, so nobody changes. He's doing the same thing he's doing. Now the back is going to block most dangerous. Yes, sir?
What was the hardest team you guys faced? I mean, the hardest defense?
Defensively, SC. Yeah, USC. The reason why in screen game is because those guys could really rush and retrace. You know what I mean? They're just such good athletes that, yeah, that nose guard could run up the field and be on your quarterback, and you throw a screen to the receiver, and he could make the tackle on the screen to the receiver. And that's why the guy's getting ready to be a multimillionaire. Because not many people can do that. I mean, he could move his feet and retrace, and you know, he was as good as anybody I've ever seen at doing that. Okay, so now again, our back's going to block 1. All right, and if it's a press corner, he's going to be obviously most dangerous. So this was a nice little change up for us. Nobody changed anything. I mean, all we had to do was teach the back to go block number 1. And you can see this back right here, he's a true freshman, weighs about 170 pounds. He's not exactly a stellar blocker. Yeah. Okay, but guess what? That's enough. Yeah, that's enough. Yes, sir.
How do you deal with that? Like that corner is, his key is he's charging up there. I mean,
Yep, that's just, you got to get somebody out there on him quick. You know what I mean? And that's the deal is, and that's why this is pretty good, because what ends up happening, a lot of times, if we're playing a man team, this is a great screen against a man team. This is better than running it at a 2x2 versus man. And the reason why is because this guy right here sees so many different screens at a 2x2. You know what I mean? In other words, if we're going to run the screen to this guy right here, let's say, okay, we're going to run the screen here. Let's say we're going to run it here. Well, he's taught so many times if he sees him go block him, now he's looking for screen. Okay? It's different here when this guy's covering the back, though, because a lot of times the back doesn't block him on screens. Okay, so it gives you a little bit of an advantage. Maybe this guy's not prepared covering the back to anticipate screen. Does that make sense? And so now it allows him, when that back free releases and run, the guy that's got him man-to-man has got to run. Because we free release our back so many times when throwing balls. If he free releases and runs, this guy better run with the back, and he better get his eyes on the back. Okay? And so I think that's why it gave us a chance to be successful in this situation right here.
You tell receivers anything different when it's press?
We tell them they got to sell it a little bit more vertical. just to buy a little bit of separation. You know what I mean?
Do you want that back to look like he's releasing? Or
Yeah, we want him to look like he's running a swing route. Yep. And really should have got more out of that than we did.
What do you tell the receiver? You want him to come all the way across the field, or you want him to cut up as soon as he can find a hole?
We want him to get 5 yards. You know, that's the big thing we tell him. Hey, you catch it, get 5, and then make a decision at that point. And because what happens is if he gets some kind of vertical push after he catches the ball, then that'll take a lot of the angles away from the defensive guys. And so that's why I think it's important to talk to him all the time about, hey, get your yards, get your 5 yards. You catch the ball, all right, your head's going to be up the field. You're going to be able to see what's going on in front of you. But now you want to get 5 and then make a decision. Okay? And that's going to keep you away from retracers inside, and it's also going to give you an opportunity to set blocks up on the outside.
Coach, in that 3-by-1, where are you telling your quarterback to take his eyes, everybody?
To the basically going to look at the H, okay, on the backside, yeah, which would have been our second receiver here outside the tight end. And again, it's all about the quarterback's eyes. I mean, it really is. If he gets his eyes backside too fast, guys stop rushing. Okay, so now this guy's going to block again, most dangerous. That ought to put the guard more on a little bit flatter angle. See, now he's kind of running for him, and he ends up going to the safety. Okay, the corner, again, this guy's playing corner for a reason. He's fast, and he's not very tough. Okay, so a lot of times we're not going to worry about him because he wants to cover somebody. He doesn't want to get involved in playing screens with linemen pulling. And so for us, if he happens to turn up on the safety's a safety because he's big and will knock the hell out of people and he can't cover. All right, and that's why he's a safety. And so, you know, he's thinking, okay, I'm not going to worry about the corner. I'm going to work up to the safety. All right. I'll tell you one thing I've learned too is that there's no offsides in the Pac-10. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, we played Cal a pretty critical play in the game. They ran a linebacker through. I mean, he is completely behind the center before he snapped the ball, and we didn't get an offsides call. I asked the official at halftime on our sideline, I said, well, the guy was offsides. He said, yeah, I know. He was on his side. It was his call. So I said, well, so I asked the other guy walking off the field at halftime, I said, well, how could you not see it offsides? He goes, oh, yeah, he was clearly offsides. Well, of course, they hit our quarterback. We fumbled. They pick it up, run it back for a touchdown. So I asked the other guy coming off the field at halftime, I said, well, how could you not make that call? He goes, oh, that was the other guy's call. He was on his side. I said, okay. Yeah. I said, well, you know, he told me the same thing. He goes, oh, he didn't tell you that. I said, unfortunately, he did. But yeah, it's weird. They don't call offsides. I don't understand what the deal is. I mean, look at that. That guy's, look at that. His hands across the ball. Whatever.
The other guy.
Yeah, exactly. I guess he's right in the middle, so I guess it's nobody's call. Okay, here's the same thing. Again, into the boundary. Patient. Oh, see, we're close here. Same thing. We're very, very close here. Okay, this guy right here gets beat across his face, which is the cardinal rule. See, and again, same thing. These guys aren't great blockers. That's why they're receivers. But do not let him cross you over the top. Okay? If he has to run underneath this guy right here, this could very well be a touchdown. You know, it got a chance to be. Okay, basically you got a receiver one-on-one with a safety in space, and you know, you're going to win the battle about half the time. All right, and again, these are the little things that we've got to get corrected. Okay, and
that's for a reason, Coach.
You know, we just change them around a little bit. Yeah, we let them actually line up wherever they want to. We don't have You know, that's kind of our deal is we talk to D coordinators, and they say, well, you know, you guys run 70 sets. How do you teach all the sets? And I'm like, no, we run 12 sets. And, you know, a defensive coordinator considers this a different set than if Z is on the ball. And so we just let them line up where they want to. We just say, okay, you know, sometimes depending on the play, you know, this guy wants to be a little deeper. This, you know, he's got a deeper route, so he wants to be on the ball. We just let those guys figure it out between themselves. And
this is the first corner that really pursued it.
yeah,
I mean, he's, you know, stuck his nose in it.
yeah, yeah. And again, those guys are playing corners for a reason.
So he goes after it.
Yeah. And that's the thing about these guys. These guys played as hard as anybody I've ever seen in New Mexico. They play hard. It's a real credit. Coaching staff does a great job there. We do this a couple of different ways, okay? We stole this from Mike Holmgren a couple of years ago, went up to Seattle and got this from him. And what he said basically is this, is because we had never run a running back screen. And we had a running back that was a pretty good space player. We wanted to try to find a way to give him the ball in space. And so what we decided was, what he told us was, take your best pass play and stick it on the screen. Okay, so again, we're going to be in a 4 wide receiver set to ensure a pass rush. Okay, and for us, one of our best screens or one of our best pass plays was a shallow cross, okay, which is this concept right here. Okay, so we were going to take that concept right there and stick the screen on. All right, so it became for us as we just called this. We had a code word for this, and it went to the right, screen to the right. So it told these guys they were going to run shallow to the right. Okay. So now he's going to sell the shallow cross, which is going to get the attention, hopefully, of these linebackers here. All right, and as many crossing routes as we run, people try hard to bang our crossers. All right, so we're going to try to let them bang on the crosser here a little bit. Okay, the back's going to step up here. 1,001, 1,002, our tackle's going to stay on. We're going to leave both tackles on this screen. Okay, the guard's going to go flat. Okay, now he's going to block number 1. Center's got 2, backside guard's got 3. Okay, stays pretty consistent. We're going to try to tell him run through, show pass, and take 2 if you can, break down and block the safety. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to run a dig route here backside and then try to get leverage on the safety and block the safety. What will happen a lot here too, and the reason why this dig is good is because it looks like pass. Also too, a lot of times, is these guys will come back, he can come back and block a linebacker there as well sometimes, okay? So we tell them work up the field. If nobody shows up the field, look for somebody chasing on the second level. Okay? And again, same thing, we'll set cones up to help our guys get out flat. And that's the key with the O-lineman is not being upfield, being flat enough to give yourself a chance to get that block. Because if you're up too vertical up the field, you have no chance. Okay? And they all want to run up the field. They got to work on getting flat all the time.
So you run back to sit in A or B gap?
Yeah, we tell him to avoid the guy. We tell him, you know, in a perfect world, yeah, he's going to be right here in the B gap. You know, we want to run it to the 1 technique. It's better to run it to the 1, okay, because when he comes inside here, there's just more room, all right? When he's a 3, it can get a little bit hairy. And as much line movement as we see, I mean, it's hairy, and we weren't very good at it this year, again, because our back was not a patient guy. We had 3 backs, and we had a senior who was a starter going into the season, and he could not run the screen to save his life. I mean, he just couldn't do it. He was one of those guys who tried to do everything as fast as he could. And then we ended up with a freshman back, and he was the best guy, which still wasn't very good. And the same thing with him. He just was, you know, he was scared to death. And so he kind of did everything fast because, again, he's about 170 pounds. All right, so we've been working hard. This is something we have to work hard on, something we've got to spend a lot of time on. We've got to get good at this, and I think this is something I made a mistake last year of not working it enough and not staying with it, not calling it in games even when it wasn't working. Because okay, these are going to be marginally successful plays because these were the only marginally successful plays we ran. There weren't very many good ones. Okay, but the key is for the back to be patient enough to get behind the guard. If he can get behind the guard, then you got a chance, okay? See how flat the guard is? That's a good job by the guard. Notice how flat he is. Again, we're running it to the 3, which isn't ideal.
Harvey, Coach, aren't both guards supposed to go?
Yeah, the backside guard, let me see why he didn't come. He's supposed to go. Yeah, where is he? I don't know. He's supposed to get out. Yeah, he's supposed to get out. We'll change it up depending on, sometimes if there's a pretty good D lineman, we'll leave the guard on just to try to get our quarterback, keep him from getting hit. So I think most of the time we ran it this year, actually we left the backside guard on. Okay, again, you prefer to go ahead and get him out though. Okay, this is off the vertical concept. Again, see how they were holding. This guy right here was really holding the vertical.
Your quarterback just drops.
Quarterback's doing the exact same thing he does on the other screen. He's going to take one long, two short, try to look away, and then dump the ball down to the back.
Coach, did you guys ever try to, when he came out to that little short three step for that one, well, he's actually not a three step, but to have him pause for like another 2 count because they're vertical down on this slot guy, if he would have drove him another 3 or 4 yards upfield, it seems like because he's forcing him back into the safety. See what I mean?
Yeah, you're talking about the receiver here? Yeah, he's supposed to outside release. Yeah, well, that's what we want to do is we want him to outside release to try to get him to widen, and we want him over the top of him all the way to the safety, theoretically, yeah. Yeah, that's a good question.
Coach, do you have any screens under center?
We do some, we don't do it very often. And again, the reason we don't is because when we're under center, that's typically a run set for us. So what we try to do is play action pass from under center as opposed to throwing screens from under center.
Do you have a preference on boundary on this one?
You know, not really. We've run it both ways, and it's worked both ways. When you're really good at it, it's probably better to throw it into the boundary. Until you get good at it, it's probably better to throw it to the field. So most of our stuff this year was to the field. Because it just, again, it gives the back a little more grass to work. But if you're running into the boundary, sometimes you can get better numbers, and it's the same thing going with the linemen. They got to play in less space. Okay, here it is out of a 2-back set. Okay, all we're doing on the 2-back stuff, and again, this kind of worked out not exactly the way you draw it up. What we want to do in the 2-back stuff is run a swing with the backside back. Okay, he thought there was some kind of blitz coming, so he stayed. We want him to swing to try to get the backside guy out of there. Okay, because again, the backside safety or backside linebacker is the guy that makes the play on almost all the screens, even a screen away from him. Okay, the back is too fast here. See all that trouble in there. Did a good job of staying with it. Quarterback did a good job of getting the ball out there to him. But again, that's not really exactly how you draw it up. And this is what happens when you're throwing this against a blitzing team. It's completely hit or miss. You know, you're gonna throw 3 of them into the ground, and then you're gonna hit one of them for 40 or 50 yards. And that's just the way that goes. And somebody's blitzing you. All right, let me talk to you real quick about the bubble screen. Another thing we do. Okay, same thing everybody does. We're not any different than anybody on this. We're going to block 1 on, 2 on, throw the bubble, and again, we try to do it versus numbers. It's obviously not a great time to do it. All right, but it's a good short yardage play for us, okay, especially when people are going to crowd the box on you. That's something we started doing in short yardage situations. All right, and then I'll show you, and this is what we consider a fast screen, and then I'll show you the other fast screen, which we just call Randy and Larry, and we're just going to pop up and throw a receiver a ball.
Bubble you consider a pass screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Quarterback just catch and throw.
Catch and throw. What we like to do is throw it into the boundary when people are trying to cheat the linebacker into the box. Okay, this is our other fast wide receiver screen, and again, you're going to see us throw it to number 10 most of the time. Okay, going to kind of formation him to get people where we got numbers out there. We're going to try to pop up, throw him the ball, and let him make a play in space. Again, that's what he could do. Okay, he's the fast twitch guy, doesn't make great decisions, do everything fast, throw the ball out there to him, let him get up the field and make something happen. All right, let me show you one more here, and then we'll take a quick break.
When this screen comes to the same as bubble to the cube.
Yes, catch the ball and get it out as quickly as possible. Yep. Okay, what we're going to do here, it's the same thing is, okay, and really all we're looking for here are numbers. Okay, so we're going to basically step him up the field real quick and come back. Just give the quarterback time to throw the ball. If the quarterback's under center, we just have him open to the quarterback immediately. If he's in the gun, we'll have him take a quick couple of steps up the field just to kind of set it up. All right, and then all we're going to do is we're going to block 1. He's going to block 2 most dangerous. okay, and we're going to try to get everybody out. Okay, our tackle's going to try to cut the end, all right? We're going to pop up, throw the ball out there to a guy, and just give him a chance to make a play.
So if the quarterback's under center, he's not stepping, he just did one step.
Yeah, all he's going to do, if he's under center, he's going to switch his feet. That's what we tell him, to switch his feet and give his pads to the quarterback, give his numbers to the quarterback. If he's in the gun, we'll let him do a quick couple of steps, but we basically want him in the same spot.
If he's in the gun, he's not even looking off,
He's catching, get it out, yeah. This is all about getting out there as quickly as possible, okay? Really no timing on this. Tackle's going to cut the end, and everybody else is just going to run an angle, okay? Basically, offensive linemen are zone blocking with the tackle cutting the end, all right?